Hi, my name is Jerome Avery. I'm a USA Paralympic guide runner, and you're watching The American Athlete. I mean, we're all at 100%. We're all ready to go. It's all about who executes and performs well in a big competition setting. I was an Olympic qualifier myself, 17 years old, and super nervous. I looked up at the Jumbotron while I was getting ready for the 100 meters, and the first person I seen was a big guy on the side of me, and then I looked up at him, immediately knocked me out my race, and I knew it was over by then. Track and field has been my life. I've always wanted to run track, but it just so happened at that time frame, while I was training at the Olympic Training Center, I had a good friend of mine who was a leg amputee, and he gave me a call and said, "Hey, Jerome, do you want to go to the Paralympic Games in Athens?" And I knew he was pretty big time in the Paralympic world, but I just said, "Hey, how are you going to make this happen?" He said, "Basically what you'll be doing is being a guide runner for visually impaired athletes." So that's where it started right there. Where it changes a little bit is that I was actually at the point called a caller. He was a long jumper. Now that's even scarier right there. You have a guy that's totally blind, you would line him up on the runway, and you're standing at the end of the board. And what I would do was call him down. Now he knows how many steps he's supposed to hit, so his 15th step on his left side is when he hits the board. And I'll start hollering, straight, straight, straight. And as he get closer, straight, 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 straight. And then I move out the way. But it just so happens at this games, the nerves kicked in for me. You had 70,000 people in the stadium. Never been in a stadium that full. And when there's 70,000 people in the stadium watching a blind long jumper, there's something on the Jumbotron that tells them all, be quiet, because the athlete needs to hear the guide runner while they're coming down the runway. So while we're going back to it, straight, 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 straight. I move out the way a little bit too late. He hits me, and it's one of those things, oh my gosh. The first thing that kicked in, I just ruined this guy's career. You know, he trained this hard to get here, and I just ruined his career. Jumped up, shook it off, ran over to him, and he started dusting himself off. And as soon as he started dusting himself off, the crowd goes crazy for him. Mind you, we're a USA team in Greece, and they have another competitor for Greece. So, as soon as the crowd goes crazy for him, I said, "Hey, Lex, they love us, they love you. Let's make this happen." And he was like, "Let's do it." At that moment is when I knew I could not mess this up again. And someone is totally blind, only known me for 2 weeks, gave me another chance to get him down the runway. So I knew that this was time. Here we go again. Straight, 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 straight. This time I moved out the way fast enough, and he gets the silver medal off of that jump. The other guide runner that was running with another athlete ended up pulling his hamstring. So guess who was the alternate? It's funny how life works. Just to be a caller, not even technically a guide. It's time for me to get back to work. So a guy that I never ran with, paired up with him, I had to run the 100 meters, 200 meters, and 400 meters with him. And the way that it works is that for the blind athletes, we're allowed 2 lanes instead of 1 lane. One for the athlete and one for the guide runner. And I will run alongside of him and communicate to him while we're running. But it's so funny, when I got into the sport and the first race that I had with him, I was talking and I didn't understand why wasn't anybody else talking while we were running. But I think that came from my individual experiences of an athlete. I knew when I get out the starting blocks, I need to be in this position. I knew when I hit the 20-meter mark, I need to be gradually coming up. When I'm at the 50, I need to be up tall. If the race is close, I also know I need to lean at the tape. So that's what I brought into guide running. Communication is very important while we run. I am not only communicating with him, but I'm also being aware of our surroundings. If he steps out of bounds on the left side or the right side or whatever side we're on, that's a disqualification. If I also cross before him, that's a big disqualification. Drive, 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 drive. There you go, come on now, 10 meters. You're looking good, come on now. Gradually come up, use your arms. There you go, come on now, he's picking it up now. You're at the 60-meter mark. Use your arms, keep it going, keep it going. You're at the 70, there we go, we got this. You're at the 90, 95, lean. And I just gave you a 100-meter race right there. So when I shout out lean, I have to slightly veer back and let him cross first. And that's something that I had to be mindful of in understanding I am not the athlete to win the race. That's when I left the individual aspect of my career and became more or less a team player now. And I understood my role completely.
Get it!
Go ahead, do it. Put it down.